An FBI report just out today shows a more than 29% increase of homicides just last year. That's the largest annual jump in 6 decades. The report comes after yet another violent weekend in Chicago. At least 60 people shot. 8 died. And as of Labor Day weekend, Chicago has seen more murders and shootings than in all of 2019. The Chicago Sun-Times reporting 795 killings in the past 12 months. Meanwhile, the war on police continues, and we want to warn you, the video we're about to show you is disturbing for some people to watch. Give you a moment to step away if you need to with small children in the room. A Florida man live streaming his assault on Orlando police officers. Watch this. Rick on one officer caused serious facial injury. And when another officer intervened, the assailant bit him and nearly gouged out one of his eyes. It took 4 policemen to subdue that man. Jason Rantz in Focus now, Seattle radio talk show host. Jason, I want to get right away to where we are as a society degrading our integrity and humanity when we tolerate what is happening with a rising crime right now.
Yeah, it's a mix between tolerating it and making excuses for it. I've heard so many excuses. COVID is responsible for all of this. No, it's not. COVID does not allow people a little bit more liberty to live stream a brutal assault on an officer, nor does it give people a pass to shoot teenagers and younger kids in Chicago. We have all been dealing with COVID. I have not murdered anyone. You have not murdered anyone. We have to stop pretending that this has anything to do with COVID beyond some politicians taking advantage of it to forward even more of their left-wing policies on policing. They have said from the beginning that they're not just about reform. They're about tearing down these institutions and rebuilding them. And what we've seen is a defunding of the police all across the country. We've seen an increase in these policies that keep people out of jail rather than in jail where they belong. And of course, we move towards, we're not going to charge you with any serious crimes. We're going to put you in restorative justice programs where you'll do art therapy or music therapy. That doesn't work. Well, in addition to that, last summer, as the peaceful protesters were perforated by basically terroristic insurgents, because some of the rioting really got very deadly dangerous, particularly for cops in this country. And you had some lawmakers, and you can jog all of our memories, because I know you talked about this, who weren't just saying put them in therapy for music and other things at that time. What they were saying is give them room to do what they're doing. Yeah, they have reasonable grievances. We should allow them to burn down a police department in Minneapolis. We should allow them to create an autonomous zone in Seattle and Portland because, you know what, their issues are legitimate. They have been kept silent too long. Let them have their fun. Let them have their activism. It was obviously the wrong move. And Jason, all of that is, you know, Senator Tim Scott thought he was negotiating with Democrats who were acting in good faith at the time. But we've learned over the weekend, Democrats failed to come to the table any longer over police reform. Watch this. Yeah.
They're putting politics over people and focusing on a partisan victory. Just remember, this problem came to us because Chicago and Atlanta, Minneapolis, New York City, Los Angeles, Portland, Seattle, all big blue cities run by Democrat mayors and supermajorities on their councils, decided not to act on behalf of their most vulnerable communities. So, yes, they've all tried to defund the police. We want to refund the police because public safety is job one. Jason.
Yeah, he's 100% correct. I don't think it was ever done in good faith from the Democratic Party because they started the conversation by saying they wanted to dismantle police departments. They wanted to take funding out. They keep saying that Black Lives Matter, but with all due respect, Black lives don't matter to you if you're defunding the police because the victims of these crimes are disproportionately Black. So why are we saying that we're going to help out our neighborhoods of color, people of color, when you're literally doing the thing that makes them most vulnerable? And I think the Senator Senator Scott is 100% correct. You are making these communities more unsafe. And no one is saying anything on the Democratic side about it because we've ceded all of this power and control and influence to a small group of lunatics who want to abolish police departments.
You know, this is an interesting kind of collision of things that people say are important to them, because this only threatens to worsen the crime problem, Jason, in states instituting vaccine mandates for law enforcement. Imagine being a cop in the middle of all this. The state police union in Massachusetts said this weekend, quote, "To date, dozens of troopers have already submitted their resignations paperwork. Many of these troopers are going to be returning to their previous municipal police departments within the state that allow for regular testing and masks." Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it obviously depends on what state we're talking about here, but across the country, we're seeing similar moves. Here in Washington state, for example, the Washington state troopers have to get a vaccine or they lose their job. They will be fired. And so some folks have put in religious accommodation requests, and every single one has been denied. They claim that these troopers can't do the job safely without a vaccine, despite, for the last 18 months, doing the job without a vaccine. At the Seattle Police Department, we've got some 200 officers under the exact same mandate, and they could lose their jobs if they're not accommodated. We've already been seeing a mass exodus of cops all across the country. They're going away from these big cities because of the policies, and that could worsen as a result of this.
Well, and then you look at the rise in crime, and if you want them to walk the beat, it's such a collision point to me. It'll be interesting to see how this goes moving forward. Their jobs are already so complicated enough, police officers. Jason Rantz, thank you.